Welcome to this week's edition of Colonial Sports Center. As always, I'm Greg Sutton, but a new face alongside me tonight, Logan Carney.
Thanks for having me, Greg. It's always great to be here.
It's always great having you on, Logan. Now, right now, there's a little bit of a thing going on down in Virginia with Robert Morris's men's football team. They're playing right now against James Madison, and the score is currently 66-0, but we'll jump into that a little bit later.
And of course, we have our very own Sam Anthony sat down with Matthew Gonzalez, the tight end for the Colonials, who's currently third in NCAA FCS in receiving yards for tight ends.
But not only do we have that interview with Matthew Gonzalez, we also have two volleyball players in studio with us tonight, Allison Londat and Alyssa Hudak, sitting down with Spencer Witt to talk about their season so far and kind of what they're expecting to get out of the rest of the year. But like I just said, Logan, we have a little bit of an update for you about the James Madison game happening down in Virginia. The game was supposed to take place Saturday, but was moved up to today, Thursday, at kickoff at 7 o'clock due to the Hurricane Florence and its potential damage and effect on the area. So we'll jump right into that right now, and we'll tell you how they looked at halftime. And now this is what we have at halftime. Passing yards, Robert Morris only had 40, not looking too great with totals, only 82 yards total on offense. But James Madison looking fantastic, totaling up around 391 yards with no turnovers, Robert Morris having 2. And going into halftime, Colonials were down 52-0 by the Dukes.
Yeah, it's currently, like you said earlier, it's currently 66-0. The start of the fourth quarter now. I believe James Madison driving in first and goal, so that score could change. But right now, 66-0, 52 at half, and James Madison just putting a field day on the Colonials defense.
Absolutely. Now, Logan, why don't you tell us about what happened this past weekend?
Yeah, this past weekend, the Colonials had the chance to get Bernard Clark his first win in his first home game. You know, the first always something special. They had their first game 2 weeks ago against Dayton. And let's jump right into highlights and see if they can give Clark that first win of the season. As we have here, it's a former quarterback, Matthew Barr, getting into the end zone to give the Colonials their first lead of the game, 7-6. But before that, we're going to jump right into the fourth quarter. We're going to have a botched handoff between Terrence Stevens and Jimmy Walker, but now Jimmy Walker, Matthew Gonzalez for the 81-yard touchdown. It was a large portion, of why they came back into this game. And Gonzalez over 100 yards receiving, the first since 2015 when Cal Bus did it. And of course, the Colonials here recovered the onside kick in 1914 in the end zone, finds Warren Robinson, the corner of the end zone, gives the Colonials lead, and they're going to go to the shuffle pass to put them up 3 and give them a field goal lead. Attempts for the field goal is blocked, and the Colonials squeak away with a small victory, but a big victory for Bernard Clark, 22-19 on a Division II opponent. And yes, the Colonials Trojan horse the Trojans as they sneaked away with a 22-19 victory. Jimmy Walker, 9 for 21, 205 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Matthew Gonzalez, the first 100-yard game since 2015 Cal Bus when he took on East Tennessee State. He was 9 catches for 138 yards. And of course, Colonials gave up 180 yards through the air, but they come away with a 22-19 victory.
The men's soccer team traveled to Farmville, Virginia 5 days ago to take the pitch against the Longwood Lancers. The Colonials were looking to finally grab their first win of the season. Up to this game, Zach Sherman was the only Colonial able to find the back of the net in a match. Below the Mason-Dixon line we go. Here we see Colonials versus Lancers of Longwood. This first one we're going to see here is Zach Sherman, the man of the hour, scoring the first 3 goals of the season for the Robert Morris Colonials as that one finds its way into the back of net. This time, Sherman able to take it down the far side, pass to the middle to Owen Pierce, and Pierce will score his first goal as a senior in his 27-game career in a Colonials jersey. Here we'll see that again. Great ball movement by Sherman there down the far side. Yeah, and Owen Pierce involved in the last 3 Colonial goals in the last 2 games. He's been on a tear lately with Zach Sherman really picking up the Colonials offense. Now we'll see the Lancers trying to get there, but Winter Fawn is showing off his athleticism as he jumps up that way and puts it up out of reach of the goal. And here we'll see Christian Corridon trying to get it on net. Nobody there, but a defender coming in to make the save. Great sacrifice of the body there. Now into the second half. Here we're going to see the Lancers try and get it in a goal by Jeremy Jaquier. Robert Morris was unable to grab their first win against the Lancers and have now fallen to 0 wins, 5 losses, and 1 draw on the season. They're now sitting on 3 straight losses. Zach Sherman and Owen Pierce each scored on the first half and then had assists on each other's goals. Robert Morris would continue for the hunt for the win in their matchup against Bucknell.
The Robert Morris men's soccer team took on Bucknell on Wednesday as they were still looking for their first win of the season, as alluded by Greg. Despite being winless of the season so far, the Colonials offense came into this game with 4 goals in their last 2 games, a big contrast from the 0 goals in their first 3. Let's see if the Colonials offense could continue their hot streak into yesterday's game against Bucknell. Now, the men's soccer team fell to Bucknell by the score of 2-1 in overtime. It was the second time this season Colonials have gone into overtime, with the other one being their 0-0 tie at St. Bonaventure. Owen Pierce assists on the Colonials' only goal, giving him 2 assists and a goal in the last 2 games, being a part of all of the Colonials' goals in that time frame.
The Colonials played in the Charm City Challenge this past weekend in Maryland on the campus of the University of Maryland of Baltimore County. The Colonials were slated to play against 3 teams in the 2 days of competition: the host squad of UMBC, Loyola of Maryland, and James Madison University. With only 1 tournament left before conference play, RMU was looking to be able to be at peak performance. Robert Morris won 2 of their 3 matches they played at UMBC. The Colonials defeated the Retrievers 3-2. Emma Granger led the charge for RMU with 13 kills, 4 blocks, 3 digs, and 1 ace. The Colonials won the last 2 sets in order to claim the match victory over the host team. RMU was then able to defeat Loyola of Maryland by a score of 3-2. Again, Allison Londa, who you'll see later with Spencer Witt, had 16 kills in the match, and Taylor Lord had 15 kills of her own. 3 blocks and 14 digs against the Greyhounds in their second match of the Charm City Challenge. In the last match of the challenge, they faced James Madison and were swept in 3 sets. And later in the show, our very own Spencer Witt, like I said, will sit down with Allison Londot and Alyssa Hudak to talk about their season up to this point and much more.
It was FYSP Class of 2020 night at the Student Recreation and Fitness Center on Tuesday as the volleyball team took on Youngstown State in the 36th meeting between the 2 programs. And in this 36th edition of the matchup, the Colonials played perhaps their best volleyball of the season. Let's dive into the highlights. Here we are in the first set. Colonials with a commanding lead, and this kill is going to make it 13-4. But Youngstown State comes back. Robert Morris just pulls away. And we go into the second set now. The Colonials up 17-11. The kill there, make it 20-11. And now we have a second set going on to the third set. Colonials up 2-0 now. Colonials with a lead again, and here is the kill. But Youngstown State going to come away and steal this set, and now it's going to be 2-1 as we head getting to the 4th set. The Colonials now trying to pull it out as they just lost another set. But here in the 4th set, the Colonials will pull away with the victory, up 24-15 now, and that will seal the deal. The Colonials pull away 3-1. Emma Granger with 18 kills and 5 aces. Whitney Brown, 48 assists in the match. Now the Colonials only need 4 sets to do it. But we're going to go send and toss to Spencer, who's standing by with a couple of Colonials who performed pretty well in that last match.
Thank you, Logan. And we have both Allison Londot and Alyssa Hudak coming up. We will talk to them, have an exclusive interview, all things volleyball. But first, we got women's soccer, as the women's soccer team played a couple games this weekend, as well as Sam Anthony sitting down with Matthew Gonzalez of the football team. Do not go anywhere here on the Colonial Sports Center.
They call me Maxie, but I prefer tripod. I was your above-average 4-legged homie, and then wham, bam, minivan. Some people pity me. Now that's lame. I still run, fetch, and swim. And the ladies love me. I'm the ultimate wingman. Just don't ask me to high five.
Here at Robert Morris University, we pride ourselves at the experience that our students gain while they're actively learning in the classroom. Some even come back to share that knowledge with new students.
I never dreamed that I'd be back here. I'm having so much fun. I'm doing a lot of what I was trained to do and what I went to school for.
The Colonial Sports Network is a great opportunity for students to learn real job skills in sports programming.
to be able to see what the students want to make of it, because it can be anything that they want. I love being here, seeing students, seeing myself in the students that work with me, and I'm really blessed to have so much talent to work with. It's really amazing to be able to see students become successful after Robert Morris. It's really cool.
Join the Colonial Sports Network team and expand your future today.
Hey, let's check out this park. Oh, wow, that's really cool.
To find a great local park or forest near you, go to discovertheforest.org.
Welcome back to Colonial Sports Center in Logan. Why don't we just dive right back into the action? The women's soccer club has been on a 5-game slide since losing to the University of Ohio after their season opening win against UMBC in Maryland. The Colonials were looking back to getting on the correct foot and to their winning ways against the Howard Bison at the North Athletic Complex in Moon Township in front of the home crowd. Now, as we jump over to the North Athletic Complex, right across the way here, we're going to see the Howard Bison taking a shot, but a good save there, and another good shot, but yet again the defense coming up big here and making sure the ball gets out of the way and clearing it out of the way to keep the ball out of danger and out of the back of the net.
Yeah, the Colonials needed to put their backup keeper in there, Sydney Buckner, but she came out with a great day with 12 saves in the match.
And that last one we just seen was a goal by Kelly Rosensteel, which was her first career goal here at Robert Morris. Now we'll jump into the second half of action here, as Robert Morris and Howard are both tied at 1, as we see Howard driving down the right side. This is going to be Jordan Taylor trying to find her way to the net, and that's going to go up wide and to the back corner of the net, Logan. A great shot there, as we'll get to see this one again.
Yeah, it's one of those tough ones to save. Again, Colonials with their backup keeper in there. She hasn't played a lot this year. Julia Schmid getting knocked out a little bit early, just 15 minutes into the match.
Not a whole lot there that they could do to stop that one, but the Colonials ended up losing the match 3-1 to the Bison, with only one Colonial goal coming in the 90 minutes of the game. Kelly Rosensteel was the only Colonial able to score in the game. The Bison Stampede was headed by Jordan Taylor. Taylor scored the 2 goals in the second half of the play and boosted them to victory. RMU would still be searching for their second win when they played Youngstown State this past Sunday on the road again with just 3 games left until conference play starts.
Now, the volleyball team wasn't the only Robert Morris squad taking on Youngstown State recently, as the women's soccer team also fared off against the Penguins. Youngstown State came into the game following a 6-0 loss against Robert Morris's Friday opponent, the Akron Zips. Let's see if the Colonials could muster up the same type of offensive production that Akron had against Youngstown State just 1 game prior. The Colonials were able to zip by the Penguins as Jane Schleicher continued her non-conference tear by scoring both of the game's 2 goals in the first half of this contest. Keeper Julia Schmid had a shutout in the game as well. Schmid's shutout was her second of the season and the first women's soccer shutout since August 17th against the UMBC Retrievers. However, the big story of the game was Schleicher's 2 goals, as she now has 7 on the year. She currently sits tied for 5th in the NCAA in total goals. Furthermore, she's tied on the school's history for career goals per game with an average of .45, tied for 2nd. And she is tied for 3rd for career goals with 18.
Matthew Gonzalez is currently 3rd in the nation in receiving yards. He allowed up 113 yards against the Virginia State Trojans. Sam Anthony got to talk with Gonzalez after practice. Now to Sam Anthony down at Joe Walton Stadium with Matthew Gonzalez.
Through the first 2 weeks of the football season for Robert Morris Colonials, Matthew Gonzalez has been tearing up the stat line, ranking 3rd among tight ends in the nation. We got a chance to talk with Matthew Gonzalez today about his success so far this season.
To be honest, just moving the ball as offense. Our O-line's really doing well right now. I know our chemistry's getting a lot better. Our first game kind of wasn't that well. Well, when we picked it up a lot better. Just our teammates, we're just working together pretty good. Just never stopping, never giving up. Just everything full speed. If we mess up, just follow up with it. don't look back. Just keep moving forward. Got to get at it this week. That's where it starts.
And there you have it. Rather than focusing on the past and what he's done before, Gonzalez decides to look into the future for what he holds and go game to game here for the Colonials. We'll continue to follow his progress throughout the season. This has been Sam Anthony reporting for RMU-TV.
Thanks, Sam. Now, the women's basketball team released their schedule earlier this week, and it contains some interesting matchups, to say the least. The biggest games of the year include the home opener against LaSalle on November 11th at noon.
They call me Maxie,
and a
but I prefer
to California, the RMU Thanksgiving Classic that starts on Friday. Now, their first game in that tournament will be against the American Athletic opponent, the SMU Mustangs. But the team's only Power 5 matchup, as you can see on your screen here, is against the Hawkeyes on December 2nd. Now, that will be the 4th matchup with the Hawkeyes within the last 5 seasons for this Colonial squad.
Another RMU alumni was recently invited to showcase their talents for a chance to play at the next level. Brady Ferguson was recently invited to the Toronto Maple Leafs training camp. Ferguson holds the program record of career points, having 167 points. Now we're going to go back over to Spencer with Allison Londot and Alyssa Hudak.
All right, thank you, Greg. And like you had mentioned before, I am here with an all-exclusive volleyball interview with Allison Londot and Alyssa Hudak. And Allison, I'll start with you. A quick question here. How long have you been playing as an outside hitter in volleyball?
I've been playing since I was in middle school.
Since you're in middle school. And then Alyssa, we'll go to the other side. As a right side hitter for Robert Morris, how long have you been playing as the right side?
I've only been playing for about a week.
About a week. So imagine complete change of position in a week in Division I athletics. So we will talk about that and plenty more, all things volleyball, in this exclusive interview here on the Colonial Sports Network. Do not go anywhere.
They call me Maxie, but I prefer tripod. I was your above-average four-legged homie, and then wham, bam, minivan. Some people pity me. Now that's lame. I still run, fetch, and swim. And the ladies love me. I'm the ultimate wingman. Just don't ask me to high five.
Here at Robert Morris University, we pride ourselves at the experience that our students gain while they're actively learning in the classroom. Some even come back to share that knowledge with new students.
I never dreamed that I'd be back here. I'm having so much fun. I'm doing a lot of what I was trained to do and what I went to school for.
The Colonial Sports Network is a great opportunity for students to learn real job skills in sports programming.
To be able to see what the students want to make of it, because it can be anything that they want.
I love being here, seeing students, seeing myself in the students that work with me, and I'm really blessed to have so much talent to work with. It's really amazing.
To be able to see students become successful after Robert Morris is really cool.
Join the Colonial Sports Network team and expand your future today.
Hey, let's check out this park. Oh, wow, that's really cool.
To find a great local park or forest near you, go to discovertheforest.org.
Welcome back here on Colonial Sports Center, and like I mentioned before, an all-exclusive volleyball interview. I have Allison Londot, Alyssa Hudak. Alyssa, Allison, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for joining us here on the interview. It's been a very pleasure, and I'm very excited to talk about all volleyball. So we'll start with how you got started. So how did you guys get into volleyball, the sport in general? We'll start with you, Allison.
I was basically on the court since I could walk. My mom was a coach, so I was always with her, running around places, and I have an older sister as well, so she got into it. So then when she got into it, I got into it. So, like, I've just been around volleyball my entire life.
So more of a family thing for you. And then Alyssa, on the other side, not much of a family thing, more of a friend thing. How did you get into volleyball yourself?
Actually, in 7th grade, my friend's mom was the middle school coach. So she asked me to be on the team, and I really liked it, so I stuck with it.
So in high school, what positions did you play in high school?
I played middle hitter my freshman through junior year, and then I switched to the outside my senior year.
You switched to outside hitter, and then now here at Robert Morris, you said 10 days ago about you went to opposite hitter. How do you adjust to that? How do you make that complete adjustment going from the left side to the right side?
It's pretty much the same footwork, just flip to the other side. During practice, we really worked on me connecting with the setters, so we really focused on that.
That's good. And so, coming into a freshman, a lot of playing time so far through these past couple weeks. How do you adjust compared to high school volleyball, compared to the D1 sport? How did you adjust from that?
From high school, I think it's a lot faster now. The hitters are more aggressive, but I was pretty nervous at first, but the team really helped me get comfortable on the court and helped with my transition from the outside to the right side.
And Allison, you had 110 sets last year played as a freshman. How do you use all that time as a freshman going into your sophomore year? How do you use that experience?
It puts me in a very good position on the court. I definitely have an advantage over people who didn't get as much playing time, for sure. I'm just more aware with all that experience, so I know what's going on. I know what's going to happen next. So it definitely put me in a better position this year.
Okay, so I want to set the scene a little bit between you two. Let's go back 2 weeks ago against Kent State. You were down the first 2 sets. One of the hardest comebacks in volleyball is to win 3 straight sets against a very good Kent State team. Allison, you had played all 5 sets yourself. You had come on, Alyssa, in the 3rd set. How did you guys, what changed between that 2nd and 3rd set that really made you guys get that spark?
Being down 2 sets, we really knew that we had to make a change. So when I went in the 3rd set, I really just wanted to do my job and make a difference.
And just coming off of even last year, going in different situations, we hadn't won a game yet, and it was our home court. We need to protect our home court and really flip a switch and turn our game up.
Right, so you talked about the first game at the home court of the North Athletic Complex. Volleyball, I think, is different compared to a lot of sports at Robert Morris, that you play home and away games throughout the year. The volleyball team, you guys go on trips, first weekend, second weekend, 3 weekends in a row to places like North Carolina, Maryland, Virginia. How do you adjust and how do you prepare for something like that when you're on the road every weekend, it seems like?
You definitely have to adjust to the different gyms, because every gym is different. You really have to notice lines on the court are different, so you really need to focus on what you need to do, and definitely we need to get a lot of rest the whole week before, because you're on a bus for a long time, so that kind of wears you out.
I think preseason we worked really hard, so that helped us on the road. We were more prepared facing the different teams.
So one more final quick question here. Talk about you just coming in as a freshman, you being a sophomore. What's the big difference, you think, between Division I volleyball and, say, high school or club volleyball, the big difference in the competition?
I think the biggest difference is just the speed of the game. High school, it was really slow, and not really slow, but a lot slower than college. It's definitely a lot more physical, the hitters and passers. Everyone is just better in Division I.
Yeah, I agree. Everything's just more amped up.
Amped up, and definitely we will look to see you guys amped up this weekend. You have your Robert Morris Invitational, the Sheraton Invitational, coming up this weekend. Want to check that out. We thank you guys, Alyssa, Allison, thank you so much for coming onto the show. And we'll send it back to Greg and Logan sooner as we go to break first here on the Colonial Sports Network.
They call me Maxie, but I prefer tripod.
Good
I was
work,
your
Spencer.
above-average
Good job,
four-legged
Spencer.
homie, and
Good
then
work.
wham,
Thank you, guys.
bam, minivan. Some people pity
know.
me. Now that's lame.
That's
I
fair,
still
though.
run,
You do a
fetch,
lot more for
and
that than
swim.
this.
And the ladies love me. I'm the ultimate wingman. Just don't ask me to high five.
Here at Robert Morris University, we pride ourselves at the experience that our students gain while they're actively learning in the classroom. Some even come back to share that knowledge with new students.
I never dreamed that I'd be back here. I'm having so much fun. I'm doing a lot of what I was trained to do and what I went to school for.
The Colonial Sports Network is a great opportunity for students to learn real job skills in sports programming.
To be able to see what the students want to make of it, because it can be anything that they want.
I love being here, seeing students, seeing myself in the students that work with me, and I'm really blessed to have so much talent to work with. It's really amazing.
To be able to see students become successful after Upper Point is really cool.
Join the Colonial Sports Network team and expand your future today.
Hey, let's check out this park. Oh, wow, that's really cool.
To find a great local park or forest near you, go to discovertheforest.org.
Welcome back, and we have a quick update for you on the James Madison. Robert Morris scores 73-7. James Madison over Robert Morris late into the fourth quarter. And Greg, you know, it's a tough task going into an opposing team stadium, let alone one that's the #2 in the country with a quarterback that used to play for a Division I team.
Yeah, absolutely.
FBS team.
Absolutely. And that quarterback is Ben DiNucci. He's actually did very well in the first half of play. I haven't seen much after that. But, Logan, we're talking over break, and we've talked a lot about these games that happened in the past week. So why don't we kind of look to the future and see what we have coming up in Robert Morris Athletics?
Yep, on Friday, we got women's soccer taking on Akron at 3 p.m. with volleyball taking on Eastern Michigan, the first game of the tournament that they are hosting this weekend. And, Greg, what games stand out to you this weekend?
I'm really excited to see this volleyball versus Purdue Fort Wayne. I'm really excited to see how that goes, and we'll kind of have to wait and see, I guess, because we can't tell the future quite yet. And now, one last thing we like to do here at Colonial Sports Center is the week that was, so why don't we jump into that compilation of highlights right now.
Again, 2-1 Robert Morris. Unbelievable start. It's Owen Pierce to make it 2-1.
Touchdown, Robert Morris. For overtime. The Colonials block the field goal attempt. There will be no overtime.
Barcola, shallow, Granger, right back to her, and she wins the game.
And what an exciting week it was. Greg, you know, we just saw the video. We have a great show. We talked about all the games that happened. What moment really stood out to you from this past week?
This past week, really the first win of the Bernard Clark era. I mean, it was kind of a tight stretch with that Division II school, Virginia State, but Robert Morris finally finding their way in the last minute or two of football and kind of pounding the ball down the field in order to get the win, not only for Bernard Clark, but for the home crowd.
And, of course, you know, coming up after the show, we got, Greg, your other show, RMU Tonight, that's going to premiere after this one. So don't go anywhere right at 11. And, Greg, what can we look forward to see on this episode that's right after?
Well, I mean, of course, we have a new side host that joined me the other night when we filmed, and his name's Jonah Hoy. He's a sophomore here at Robert Morris. Probably a little bit funnier than I am, but I do the jokes better, so we put my face on TV a little bit more.
And that's all the time we have. Thank you, and join us next time in Colonial Sports Center.